What's up, guys? A lot of you guys know that I'm a big fan of using RPE, or that reps in reserve style of kind of objectively measuring a person's training load. Um, just because percentages, when you use percentage based, or you're running on, starting with a percentage number, um, just because you pulled something or did something 6 weeks ago, doesn't exactly mean that on that given day that is, still your max. It could be more, it could be less. It's different day to day. So using RPE is going to be a really, really good scale to judge where you're at on that day. And it also gives you a little bit more flexibility to modify your training as is, right? So if you're feeling really good that day, you can go up in weight, whatever your working weight is. Or, long day at work, not a ton of food. You can use that to help you regulate and not overreach or overtrain, or overshoot on that given day. So it kind of helps you keep yourself in track. But the problem is that a lot of people don't know exactly how to use RPE. They don't know how to gauge it. They have difficulty trying to figure out how to utilize it as a tool. So there's a lot of graphs. So the one listed right now is from Barbell Medicine, and this one is talking about in terms of one rep or one repetition, right? So you did a heavy pull. How do you judge that heavy pull? They give good proxies or good verbiage on how to, kind of gauge it yourself and talk you through it. Granted, it starts, the RPE 6, there's no loss in speed, moved really good, stuff like that. Like I was about to say, granted, it does take a little bit of trial and error. You have to practice it, right, to be able to get proficient at it. And it's going to change. Your RPE scale 2 years from now is going to be different from today. Some people are going to learn how to grind a little bit more. Some people's grind is going to, that's going to indicate more. Some people just have a slower repetition and they can grind through a rep more. I think that's why repetition in terms of use of the RPE scale and kind of honing it to yourself is good. These charts only give you a good starting point, and then you modify how you kind of, exhibit in your lifting, because everybody's different. Now this next chart uses kind of a reps in reserve style, and that's going to be mainly based on, if you're doing doubles, triples, fives, up to tens. But the caveat is the farther away from one repetition, it's going to get a little dicey. But it's still really good, I think, from like 5 and under. And so it's like, oh, I did 3 reps there. I probably could have done 5 more good ones. Well, that's probably an RPE 5, 5 or 6, give or take. I think that one's going to be a good use for beginners trying to figure out kind of, oh, I did, 3 with this weight. And then, Stronger by Science did AMRAP or Joker sets trying to figure out how many you actually could do. And I think that kind of style of training can help you get a good basis and figure out what your RPE scale is. So you think you could have done 3. Well, next set, boom, and then you did 4. So okay, that's not quite how it feels, and now I do know how it feels to do a little bit more. Granted, not everybody can do that week to week. It's just a learning tool and a way to build up fatigue, of course. In this next chart, you can apply RPE to even your cardiorespiratory training. So yes, you should be doing cardio, but it uses the talk test, essentially. Could you maintain a casual conversation and not really break down, not lose your breath, stuff like that, all the way to you could not speak because you're gasping for air so much. That might be an RPE 10. Like I said, they are charts. They're not, the end all be all. So it's a good way to, establish what you just did and kind of compare it to the chart, check out your own training footage and readjust from there and continuously practice there. So how can you use this in training? A lot of times right now with my own training, and with a lot of my athletes, basically I use RPE to work up to something. So you're working up to a single at 8 or single at 7 or triple at 8, whatever it is. and that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the training session, or at least for that movement. Boom, you did 3 at 365, and that was RPE 7. Okay, now we can use that because 3 is still pretty close to 1, so the math kind of works out a little bit better. It's still not perfect, but it works well. And you can kind of calculate, okay, this would be my estimated 1 rep max using, RPE and the reps. And then you can base your training session off that. So a lot of times I just use, drop by 15% of what you just did for, 5s or 6s or whatever that is. And then you can, build your volume from there, and that's going to help you auto-regulate your own training. It's going to help you you're going to learn your own way, but it helps you keep from overshooting, or helping you learn, okay, I did overshoot on that, and that's what that felt like. So next time you do a set and it feels like that, okay, you can adjust and modify your training from that day. Unless you're trying to accumulate fatigue, it all depends. It's a tool. It's not exactly end all be all. It's not the golden, law of whatever. It's just a tool, and you still have to hone it. You can still use percentages, but you need to know that percentages based on something 6 weeks ago is going to be different from today. And that's why I think RPE is definitely a more superior scale and a superior tool to use, especially for powerlifters, Olympic weightlifters. You can even help CrossFitters judge a session that way. So some food for thought. It's going to take practice, and part of that practice is going to help you to develop your own proficiency, your own fitness, and your own progress. So hope this helps.